Welcome. I'm Søren Heinecke from the Danish National Funding Organization Innovation Fund Denmark. I have the pleasure of introducing Ulla Spar and Pia Jacobsen from Water Valley Denmark. Water Valley Denmark is accepted by the Water for All Partnership as a water-oriented living lab, and we will have a short conversation about how Water Valley Denmark works, how it started, and what the future holds. But before we start, perhaps you first, Ulla, and then you, Pia, can say a few words about yourself.
Thank you so much, Søren. I'm Ulla Spar. I'm CEO of Water Valley Denmark. I came into the water sector with a background within innovation, strategic innovation, and in Water Valley Denmark, my core competences is driving open innovation between the partners in all our work, and especially organizing co-creation together with partners. So I do not have a water background, but an innovation background. But luckily I have Pia in the team with a huge water background. So
thank you, Ulla. Yes, I'm Pia Jacobsen, Head of Global Innovation at Water Valley Denmark. So I have an experience of a bit more than 20 years in a water utility in Denmark. And then I was also part of developing a water technology alliance in California, promoting Danish technologies. I joined Water Valley Denmark nearly 2 years ago. It is a pretty young initiative.
Thank you. I could imagine that you both have had a steep learning curve, whether you're from the outside or from the inside of the sector, but obviously you're both doing a great job, because it is quite amazing how far you have come in quite a few years, or just a few years.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. This brings me to my first question there. It's about how Water Valley Denmark works. Could you please explain in broad terms the innovative practices, technologies and methodologies that you use in practice here in Water Valley Denmark?
Yes, thank you. We are formed as a non-profit partner organization. So we have members from both utilities, big and small companies, universities, and the utilities being owned by municipalities in Denmark also brings us very close to the citizens and the needs of the citizens. So we really have this broad partnership, and we try to see what are the world's biggest water challenges that no organization can solve alone. Where do we need to join forces? So that is both within Denmark, but also with international partners. So what we try to do is to see where do we have a challenge that is very big. Right now we are working with greenhouse gas emissions. We have worked with digitalization of the water sector, and is also that is a continuous work, but how can data make value for the water sector and the needed transformation to an energy climate neutral world. So we are working with these big challenges, and we bring people together in open innovation processes. And we have a very simple process in 3 steps. One is co-learning, where we bring all partners together to say, what have already been done? What are they doing in other places in the world? What can we learn from? But what is also needed? Where are the challenges and the potentials that we need to work with? And then we go into co-creation when we find these needed areas and say, okay, but what can we then actually do? And especially, we are very much attracted to building test and demonstration facilities, because having people working together on a specific target really brings up innovation. And I think I'll leave it to Pia then, because Pia has worked with our test and demonstration facilities. That is sort of core of our innovation work.
Yeah, and thank you. That's where the water-oriented living labs really come into play, and showing its strong positions of how people can work together. Because it's not only creation and developing, but it is to put it into real life in full-scale systems, and that's what we see as a big advantage. Our first project focused on the water distribution system, and there we had 14 partners. So that was combination of universities, more universities, companies in different size, going from startups to very large global companies, and then the utilities sharing different experiences and where should we add some new development. And then it was possible both to share data in a safe space, but also to test and to learn how to put up test sites. Was really some good learnings from that project. And what people didn't know is what they learn from one another, and you see that in these collaborations, that they bring so much to each other, not just the technical stuff, but also of people working together.
Yeah, I think we've discussed that before, and we all know that, I don't know if it's particular in the water sector, but we need these synergy effects at the same time. It's always been, I dare to say, a bit of a struggle putting stakeholders from across different sectors into the same innovation system. But apparently you manage. I can see that your processes are efficient. There are already a lot of interesting activities and projects that you can study on your website. And it seems to be like a growing portfolio already. Yeah. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I would also like to add what we are doing as an organization in Water Valley Denmark is very much the facilitation, because the knowledge and the expertise are grounded in the different organizations, but often you need someone to facilitate the discussions, and that is often forgotten. So that is one of our core competencies, is really bringing people together, but also bringing in specialists from other fields. We just 2 days ago had a seminar around artificial intelligence. So what can we learn from new technologies, and how can that add value into the water sector? And especially also, what can we learn from the energy sector that is very strong in Denmark, or what can we learn from other sectors? So we try to add that into the water system, because there we can learn from things that had happened in other industries.
And can I also continue? Because being very involved in the Water Living Lab project, we have gained so much experience, and we like to encourage other utilities to start up water living labs and kind of bring the knowledge from one to another. And I think also by that we are ready to join the water-oriented living labs in the Water for All project and share our experience, but also to learn what's going on in other European countries.
That sounds very interesting, and there an aspect which I would like to have a clarifying question. How do you strike the balance between sort of being a facilitator and being a sort of a demonstration site? Do you own test and demonstration facilities yourself, or how do you provide access to these?
I think that's a very good question, because we actually have had these also strategic discussion in going into being a water living lab and driving innovation. And we really looked into what is the role of Water Valley Denmark, and we very much see ourselves as initiators, starting the needed discussions and the needed project partnerships, and where do we need new facilities, and how do we start a discussion and a cooperation around that. And then we are the facilitator role, facilitating, securing that we have as many partners as possible. Also, if there are partners in Europe or other places that really have an expertise, that we bring them into the lab also. But then there's the last one, executor. And there we say it's the companies and the utilities, because the utilities are the owners of the infrastructure. And I think you can say a bit more about that. Why is it that it's often the utilities who own the test and demonstration facilities?
Yeah, because you do work quite closely with the utilities, and also develop operational interfaces between you and them and their facilities.
Yeah, and when you look at the utility, they have all the infrastructure, right? And they have some challenges, but not maybe every challenge that occurs in the water system. So I think we play the role in broaden the access to the Water Living Lab for more different partners to be able to join. So it's very much also about governance, how to invite other partners. From the owner's perspective, they would put the challenge where they need solutions, but maybe they look very narrow on challenges and solutions because you're the owner. And we all know when you're a public utility, you don't have unlimited resources for doing innovation. So I think it's also important to team up with a partner that is able to bring in more partners and create opportunities and value for more companies like the ones chosen by the utility itself.
And I would always say that we are very lucky in Denmark to have very innovative utilities. So they're very much into doing this innovation. So we do not have to convince them. They're very eager. But as Pia are telling, sometimes they need funding, and we can then also help initiate where to find more funding for the Water Living Lab, because that's also one of our core tasks, helping to find funding for innovation. And then we also help them around communication, because sometimes the utilities, it's not because they forget it, but they need to spread the word that they're actually open for collaboration. And there we help as facilitators, also facilitating the communication. So we have a platform, watercycledenmark.com, where you can find test and demonstration facilities and how to get access to the test and demonstration facilities. And we are sort of hosting and facilitating that platform in order for people to be aware of all the possibilities.
Complicated but necessary and very interesting indeed. You fulfill a lot of different roles, but well, I guess that's the job for a living lab. That brings me to my second question. We have a few big questions, a lot of answering, but this is about Water Valley Denmark's impact. Following all the good things you're doing, how would you describe the impacts and benefits that Water Valley Denmark brings to its stakeholders?
Yeah, and also as an organization, we have two core tasks. One is helping the Danish water sector reach to be climate neutral in 2030, but it's also to help export of Danish water technology. So we both have a commercial aspect, but we highly also have a sustainability aspect, and we look into that in everything we do. I think we can proudly look back on impact. There's more to come, because often innovation process take from 5 to 10 years before you really see the impact. But in the Water Living Lab that we have done together with Aarhus Water as a project partner, and on their distribution system, it has actually there has been built a digital twin where you can make modeling of the water distribution, really looking into efficiency and being more able to bring out clean drinking water to the population of Aarhus in a most effective way. So that is a really important impact, both for the utility but also for the citizens in Aarhus. And it has also been for the participating companies working together and suddenly being able to see how their individual technologies perform when they're in a system where you can make real-time modeling. They can suddenly see how could we optimize our own solutions even more to really create efficiency, to minimize leakages, to prolong lifetime of piping, and suddenly it both gives the companies valuable information to make the best solutions, but it also brings value to people, because if your piping can last longer, your municipality doesn't have to invest huge amounts of money in that. So we're really trying to see how is the benefit for both utilities, citizens, universities participating, and also, of course, for the companies. No, Pia, would you add?
Yeah, it brings all the kind of development and demonstration out in the city. So it's not just like very small scale in a lab in a university. You bring it out in real infrastructure. And when the utilities are having smart water meters and components like that, where they can interact with citizens, you can start also doing more lab with citizens. So it can take a lot of step locally, but it's very important also to say how it can be inspiration or directly development together with international partners or with other in Denmark, because we are a national organization. So yeah, living labs are in certain areas, but the learning from one another and innovation together is wider than that. So it has a dual purposes, like you also explained, that something really takes place physically, locally, but there's a lot of learnings digitally, but also from systems and insights that you can bring in a larger sphere than just the physical area, or territory.
Well, I guess water management and asset management and focus on digitalization really brings you at the core of global problems as well, and not just the regional issues. Okay, thanks. My next question would be about the process of developing Water Valid Denmark. What have been the biggest challenges that you have faced so far? How did you overcome them, and what important lessons have you learned?
I think we were born out of some very ambitious Danish companies, technology providers, and some of the bigger utilities in Denmark going together and saying, okay, the world needs these solutions and we need to go together in order to find them. So that has been very strong for us. So we're really born on a strong wave of commitment from very important partners, and that has been very beneficial to us. But of course, the challenges often occurs quickly because there's the role of innovation, what lies within Water Valid Denmark, what lies in the different organizations. So often there can be the question, this test and demonstration facilities, does it belong to the utility or is it part of the whole Water Valid Denmark system? And again, as we mentioned, the ownership has to be at the utility because they own the infrastructure. But again, opening it up. So these sort of complications around what is sort of private and what is out in the open has called for a lot of talk. Also, when we talk open innovation, it has been a learning curve because often people have said, I would like that partner, and that partner. And we are more saying, no, it's open. We will open it for all our members and invite them in. And we will also encourage that you partner up with more people in order for the projects to be stronger and to have a stronger learning in the. But that could often be sort of like building trust. So a lot of the work we have done within the last 2 years is also building trust with partners to be open and to be willing to share not only what are we good at, but also where do we need to learn more, because that can be a bit vulnerable for people to talk about. And I think, what do you think, Pia?
Yeah, also the water sector is naturally risk adverse, so we don't like to take risks. But in some of these partnerships and innovations, you have to be open about things or problems that you usually keep for yourself. But I also seen when people kind of starting sharing and then it's not that difficult. So they quickly learn about all the benefits it gives back from feedback and other learnings, other competences in the room to share a bit of where you struggle. And that is not only the utility, of course, that's also coming from a university or some of the companies, because they also have their challenges in what they want to develop. So also that they can bring in when you have a water-oriented living lab.
Do you think it's a particular challenge working so market oriented and close with commercial actors that you do, or is it basically the same challenge whether you're a publicly owned utility company, a research institution, or a multinational corporation?
It could be, because every time you bring in commercial companies or private partners, they are very curious about who has the right to what you develop. And of course also when you work together with universities, and especially when you bring more universities together at the same table, then that has been a learning to how open can we discuss things, and what about the data we produce? Who owns that data? Yeah. So I think we have had the advantage to not been developing things that was market prepared or market ready, but in the lower TRL space. So we could still be pretty open about the development. It's not at the right state yet.
Yeah, and anything just between you and I, anything you would have done differently from the start, or is it just plain hard work building these relations and routines and trust?
I think we were born with very high ambitions, and we are ambitious people. So I might say maybe we should have built some quick wins. So a good recommendation is that we really grabbed for very high. The Aarhus Water Living Lab is really a huge project. Water data space around data sharing and data standardization is also a very sort of very complex system with a lot of discussions. And it took maybe 1.5 years before many of people around us could see, okay, that is what you're doing. So if I should recommend something, is maybe we could have done some quick learnings in small test and demonstration facilities, showing people in the small, this is what we are targeting at. Because I think a lot have been standing and sort of waiting and saying, okay, will they succeed or will they not succeed? Or I'll wait till they succeed and then I'll jump on board. So maybe we took, I'm happy and proud now that we took some of the very complex matters, but we might have started with some small success in order to get more confident from more other partners. So that could be my advice.
And I think from the Waterfall project within the water-oriented living lab, we also help other living labs in guidelines on governance, because if we have had stuff like that from the beginning, then I think it would calm down some of the kind of worries people could have in the beginning, and hard to see what's in it for us. It's just helping others. So I really hope we can develop some good tools that can be used for new developing living labs, so they will have a comfort start. Because that came during our project, and it helped very much when we were able to kind of show how do we organize this. Yeah. So
plan for a quick win and take a good look at what other people already did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So, looking forward, what is the future vision now? What are the next steps in your development process? What do you have in pipeline for us?
Oh, very, very many ambitions. We have built the ambitions together with the whole Danish water sector that we want to build and demonstrate the world's most sustainable and efficient water cycle. So there we have invited partners to say what are the core objectives that we see right now. So there we are in the field of, we're looking into greenhouse gas emissions, we're looking into water reuse, we're looking into water supply, we're looking into stormwater. And one thing we just started recently, but where we can see there's a huge need, is water within the industry. So we have had a conference where Novo Nordisk in Denmark has participated, Lego, Arla, some of the big manufacturing companies in Denmark, because they also have international sites. They need to work more around water because they have a very high water consumption, and they say we need to be responsible with our water footprint. So we are inviting a Danish partner in to help to see where do we see solutions for industrial water. So here it will be more living labs working at Novo Nordisk as an example. So we are looking into right now where we place living labs for industrial water.
And also we like to be more in dialogue with other countries, with innovators like ourselves. So we strengthen our relations in different countries, both in the US and Europe and India, to also bring in challenges that are not maybe the biggest challenge here in Denmark, because we have some advantages within water in our country, but to see where do some of the efficient stuff we are doing, how does it scale, what is needed to be able to work in an environment where you have much harder challenges on drought or too much water, or whatever challenge. It could be like so much bigger in other countries than we see it here. So it's very important to learn from the outside and in, and also invite global innovators to join into our innovation processes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I see an interesting journey for many years to come. This brings us to the end of our conversation. Do you have any last words of wisdom or advice that new living labs should take on board?
I would use an old slogan: just do it. Because if you have the ambition and be aware that there might be people looking at you sort of a bit curious and in a waiting position, but when they see that you really want to do this, they engage and they become very happy in engaging. So we hope that more will join in, and we are looking so much forward to being part of the European family of water-oriented living labs, because I think we really need the inspiration. So also if you're new, come and visit, because we are eager to share our knowledge, because our main purpose is really helping global challenges, and we like to do that in partnership also with other living labs.
Yeah, I would say make sure you do triple or quadruple helix projects, and focus on how to bring trust into the partners. That's a good start for people to work together.
Thank you so much. Thus, enlightened and encouraged, I will say thank you very much to both of you, and repeat that everybody out there, feel free to reach out to Pia and Ulla. I know that they are willing and able to collaborate on an increasingly larger scale. So looking forward for that in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.